Hello friends, in this video we are going to discover the top 10 most dangerous states in the United States. We're going to break down the numbers, look at the cities, and give you the real story behind the headlines. Do you live in one of the most dangerous states in America? You might be surprised by what we found. We all watch the news with horror when we hear about a crime that happens not that far away from us, and it makes you wonder just how safe your own neighborhood really is. It's a scary thought, and it's easy to get caught up in fear and what everyone else is saying. Instead of relying on public opinion and speculation, we wanted to get the facts straight and dug into the FBI crime data in order to identify the most dangerous states in the U.S. We spent hundreds of hours analyzing official reports, looking at violent crime rates, property crime rates, and everything in between. The purpose of this study is to use facts to determine which of our great American states have the highest instances of crime. We're not here to scare you, but to inform you, so you can be aware of the realities on the ground, and you won't believe what we found. Turns out, New Mexico is the most dangerous state in all of America. The safest? New Hampshire. The difference is staggering. We are going to count down from number 10 all the way to the number 1 most dangerous state. Kindly make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon before we start this video about the 10 most dangerous states in the United States. You don't want to miss what's coming. Now let's dig deeper into each of the top 10 most dangerous states in the United States. Kicking off our list at number 10 is Arizona. Now, you might think of stunning deserts, the Grand Canyon, and beautiful sunsets, but there's a side to Arizona that isn't so picturesque. The state has some serious challenges when it comes to crime. One of the biggest issues here is car theft. Imagine walking out to your driveway in the morning, ready to go to work, only to find an empty space where your car used to be. For thousands of Arizonans, this is a real-life nightmare, with the state having one of the highest rates of motor vehicle theft in the entire country. It's not just cars that are at risk. Home invasions are another significant concern. People's personal sanctuaries, their homes, are being violated at an alarming rate. This creates a constant sense of unease for many residents. Part of this problem is linked to Arizona's location. Sharing a long border with Mexico means the state is on the front line of border-related crime, which includes everything from drug trafficking to human smuggling. These large-scale criminal operations often spill over into local communities, increasing violence and property crime across the board. Another factor that makes life in Arizona riskier is something you might not expect: healthcare. The state often ranks poorly for access to and quality of healthcare. This means if you are a victim of a crime, or even just get into an accident, getting the help you need can be a challenge. Speaking of accidents, Arizona has a shockingly high number of pedestrian accidents. Just walking down the street can be dangerous, especially in busy urban areas like Phoenix, where pedestrian fatalities are a major public safety issue. So, while Arizona offers incredible natural beauty, the combination of high property crime, particularly car theft, the constant threat of home invasions, spillover from border-related criminal activity, and even risks to your physical safety from poor infrastructure and healthcare, firmly places it as the 10th most dangerous state in America. It's a stark reminder that even in the most beautiful places, danger can be lurking just around the corner. We're just getting started, and the states coming up are even more shocking. Coming in at number 9 is Colorado, a state famous for its majestic Rocky Mountains, world-class skiing, and vibrant cities. But beneath that beautiful exterior, a serious crime problem is brewing, one that has landed it on our list. The biggest issue facing Colorado right now is property crime. The state has seen a massive surge in thefts, burglaries, and car thefts, ranking among the worst in the nation. It's reached a point where residents in cities like Denver are constantly on edge, worrying if their package will be stolen from their porch or if their car will be there in the morning. This isn't just petty theft we're talking about. The sheer volume of property crime is overwhelming law enforcement and creating a sense of lawlessness in some areas. But it's not only property crime. While Colorado's violent crime rate isn't the absolute highest, the number of murders has been on a disturbing upward trend. This increase in homicides is a major concern for communities across the state, signaling a rise in more serious and violent confrontations. It's a shocking reality for a state that many people associate with a healthy, outdoor lifestyle. Some of the most dangerous places in the entire country are actually small cities in Colorado. Places like Glendale, Sheridan, and Alamosa have crime rates that are off the charts, far exceeding those of major metropolitan areas. For instance, Glendale, a small enclave surrounded by Denver, has a crime rate that is astronomically high for its size, making it statistically one of the most perilous places to be in America. These hotspots contribute significantly to Colorado's overall dangerous reputation. The combination of a property crime epidemic that affects nearly everyone, a concerning rise in the number of murders, and the presence of several small cities with extreme crime rates makes Colorado the 9th most dangerous state. It shows that crime isn't just a big city problem, and that even in a state known for its natural beauty and outdoor recreation, the threat of becoming a victim of crime is very, very real. Let's move on to number 8. Our number 8 spot takes us to the heart of Tornado Alley, Oklahoma. The Sooner State has a reputation for friendly people and a rich cultural heritage, but it's also grappling with a crime rate that is significantly higher than the national average. When you look at the raw numbers, the overall crime rate per resident is alarmingly high. This means that statistically, your chances of becoming a victim of either a violent or property crime are much greater here than in most other parts of the United States. It's a widespread issue that affects communities both large and small across the state. A major driving force behind Oklahoma's crime problem is poverty. The state has one of the highest poverty rates in the nation, and as we often see, economic hardship can lead to desperation. When people are struggling to make ends meet, to feed their families, or to find stable housing, crime rates for theft, burglary, and even more violent acts can unfortunately increase. This isn't an excuse, but it's a critical piece of the puzzle for understanding why crime is so prevalent in many parts of Oklahoma. This issue is particularly concentrated in certain urban areas. Tulsa, for example, is one of Oklahoma's largest cities, and it consistently ranks as one of its most dangerous. The city battles high rates of violent crime, including assault and homicide, as well as rampant property crime. Neighborhoods in North and West Tulsa, in particular, face significant challenges, with residents experiencing a disproportionate amount of the city's crime. The problems in Tulsa are a major contributor to Oklahoma's overall ranking on this list. So, when you combine the high overall crime rate that puts every resident at greater risk, the deep-seated issues of poverty that fuel criminal activity, and the intense pockets of danger in cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma firmly earns its place as the 8th most dangerous state. It's a complex problem with no easy solutions, affecting the lives of thousands of Oklahomans every single day. The situation is serious, and it's a reality that the state is working hard to change. At number 7, we have Missouri, the show me state, which unfortunately is showing us some very troubling crime statistics. While the state as a whole has issues, the conversation about crime in Missouri is completely dominated by one city, St. Louis. For years, St. Louis has had the grim distinction of possessing one of the highest, if not the highest, murder rates of any major city in the United States. This isn't just a statistic, it's a devastating reality for the community, representing countless lives lost and families torn apart by violence. The extreme violence in St. Louis is often attributed to rampant gang activity and the drug trade. These criminal networks are deeply entrenched in certain neighborhoods, creating cycles of violence and retaliation that are incredibly difficult for law enforcement to break. The constant threat of gun violence casts a dark shadow over the city, making residents feel unsafe in their own communities. The sheer number of homicides in St. Louis significantly skews the violent crime data for the entire state of Missouri. But the problem isn't confined to just St. Louis, or just violent crime. Missouri also ranks very poorly for property crimes across the state. In many areas, residents deal with high rates of burglary, larceny, and vehicle theft. This means that even if you live far from the violent hotspots of St. Louis, you are still at a higher than average risk of having your property stolen. It's a two-pronged problem that makes Missouri a dangerous place in more ways than one. The combination of an unprecedented murder rate in its largest city, driven by gang violence, along with a statewide struggle against high property crime rates, places Missouri at number 7 on our list. The situation in St. Louis is so severe that it single-handedly makes Missouri one of the most dangerous states in America. It's a tragic and complex issue that continues to challenge law enforcement and community leaders year after year. Next up, we head to the far north. For our number 6 spot, we're traveling to the vast and rugged wilderness of Alaska. Known as the last frontier, Alaska's immense size and sparse population create a unique and dangerous set of circumstances. Surprisingly, for a state with so few people, Alaska consistently has one of the highest rates of violent crime per capita in the entire nation. This includes shockingly high rates of assault and other violent offenses. The romantic image of a peaceful, isolated life in Alaska often clashes with this harsh reality. A huge contributing factor to this problem is the sheer lack of law enforcement in many areas. Alaska is enormous, more than twice the size of Texas, but much of it is remote and inaccessible. Many small, isolated villages have no local police presence at all. State troopers may be hours away by plane, meaning that when a crime occurs, help is not coming quickly, if at all. This lack of oversight creates an environment where violence can occur, with a sense of impunity, leaving many residents vulnerable and without protection. Beyond the staggering violent crime rate, Alaska also has a significant issue with property crime. The state ranks near the top for property crime rates as well. In cities like Anchorage and Fairbanks, residents face high instances of burglary and theft. The isolation that defines much of the state doesn't protect it from these problems. In fact, it can sometimes make it worse, as communities feel they have to fend for themselves against criminals who take advantage of the limited law enforcement resources. So, when you consider the incredibly high rate of violent crime per capita, the vast areas of the state with virtually no police presence, and a property crime problem that rivals that of much more densely populated states, Alaska is undeniably one of the most dangerous places to live in America. It's a wild and beautiful state, but its frontier nature comes with a level of danger that lands it at number 6 on our list. Cracking our top 5 is Tennessee, the volunteer state. While it's home to Nashville's vibrant music scene and the beautiful Great Smoky Mountains, it's also home to some of the most dangerous cities in the country. The primary driver of Tennessee's high crime ranking is the city of Memphis. For decades, Memphis has struggled with extremely high rates of both violent and property crime, consistently ranking as one of America's most dangerous large cities. The level of crime in Memphis is so intense that it heavily impacts the statistics for the entire state. Tennessee as a whole has one of the highest violent crime rates in the United States, and Memphis is at the epicenter of this problem. Homicides, aggravated assaults, and robberies are tragically common occurrences. Residents in many neighborhoods live with a constant fear of violence. This isn't just a recent trend, it's a long-standing issue that the city has been battling for generations, with crime waves that ebb and flow but never seem to disappear completely. Several deep-rooted societal issues contribute to Tennessee's crime problem. Like some other states on our list, poverty is a major factor. Areas with high concentrations of poverty often become hotspots for criminal activity. This is compounded by significant problems with drug use, particularly opioids and methamphetamines, which fuels a cycle of addiction, desperation, and crime. These social and economic pressures create a volatile environment where crime can flourish. From the dangerous streets of Memphis to the broader issues plaguing the entire state, Tennessee's problems are severe. The combination of one of the nation's most crime-ridden cities, an overall very high violent crime rate, and underlying factors like poverty and drug abuse firmly plants Tennessee as the 5th most dangerous state in America. It's a beautiful state with a dark and dangerous side that affects the lives of many of its residents. Alright, coming in at number 4 is the Palmetto State, South Carolina. Now, while it's known for its charming historic cities and beautiful coastline, South Carolina also harbors, well, a significant crime problem that often goes under the radar. One of the most glaring issues for the state is its incredibly high rate of property crime. For years, South Carolina has been at or near the top of the list for property crimes per capita. This means residents are at a very high risk for burglaries, larceny, and vehicle theft. It creates a pervasive sense of insecurity where people constantly worry about the safety of their homes and belongings. Now this problem is especially pronounced in popular tourist destinations. Take Myrtle Beach, for example. It's a vacation hotspot that draws millions of visitors each year. However, it also has one of the highest crime rates in the entire state. The combination of a large transient population, a bustling nightlife, and opportunistic criminals makes it a hotbed for theft and other crimes. Tourists are often targeted, but the high crime rate is a year-round problem for the permanent residents who have to live with it every day. Beyond property crime, South Carolina consistently receives poor marks for overall safety. When you look at rankings that consider a wide range of factors, from violent crime and law enforcement presence to road safety and workplace hazards, South Carolina frequently lands near the bottom. This indicates that the dangers in the state are not just limited to one type of crime, but are part of a broader pattern of risk that affects multiple aspects of daily life for its citizens. The state's struggle is multifaceted. While its violent crime rate isn't the absolute highest on our list, it is still significantly above the national average. When you combine that with its status as one of the worst states for property crime and its poor overall safety rankings, the picture becomes clear. South Carolina's charm and beauty can't hide the fact that it is the fourth most dangerous state in the United States, a place where residents and visitors alike face an elevated risk of becoming a victim. Breaking into the top 3 most dangerous states is Arkansas. The natural state is known for its rugged Ozark Mountains and pristine wilderness, but it's also facing a severe and escalating crime crisis. Arkansas has one of the highest violent crime rates in the entire country. This isn't just a small statistical anomaly, it's a major public safety issue. The rate of aggravated assaults in particular is alarmingly high, meaning violent confrontations are a serious threat in many parts of the state. But the danger in Arkansas isn't limited to violence against persons. The state also has a massive problem with property crime. It consistently ranks among the worst states for burglary, larceny, and especially vehicle theft. The rate of car theft in Arkansas is exceptionally high, putting residents' property at constant risk. This dual threat of high violent crime and high property crime means that citizens are facing danger from all sides, making it an incredibly challenging environment to live in. The crisis is especially acute in the state's capital and largest city, Little Rock. Little Rock consistently posts some of the highest crime rates in the nation for a city of its size. It struggles with a high murder rate, frequent shootings, and rampant property crime. Other cities like Pine Bluff and West Memphis also face extreme crime challenges, contributing to Arkansas's dangerous reputation. These urban centers act as epicenters for the crime that plagues the entire state. When you have a state that is near the top of the list for both violent crime and property crime, the conclusion is unavoidable. The high risk of assault, the constant threat of your car or belongings being stolen, and the intense danger concentrated in its major cities all combine to make Arkansas the third most dangerous state in America. The natural beauty of the state stands in stark contrast to the unnatural levels of danger its residents face every day. We've now reached our runner-up for the most dangerous state in America, and it's Louisiana. The Bayou State is world famous for its unique culture, incredible food, and lively music, especially in New Orleans. But behind the celebration and Mardi Gras beads lies a dark and violent reality. Louisiana has been battling one of the highest violent crime rates in the nation for decades. The problem is persistent, widespread, and deeply ingrained in many of its communities. The conversation about crime in Louisiana often starts and ends with its murder rate. The state consistently has one of the highest homicide rates in the United States, and cities like New Orleans and the capital, Baton Rouge, are the epicenters of this violence. Gun violence is a daily reality, and the number of lives lost is staggering. For many residents in these cities, the sound of sirens is a constant backdrop, and the fear of violent crime dictates where they go and what they do. Like many other states on this list, Louisiana's crime problems are deeply intertwined with severe social and economic issues. The state has one of the highest poverty rates in the country. Generations of economic hardship, coupled with a struggling education system, create a cycle of desperation that can lead individuals toward crime. This is further exacerbated by a rampant drug trade that fuels violence and addiction throughout the state, from the big cities to the small rural towns. Louisiana is a state of stark contrasts. It's a place of incredible joy and cultural richness, but it is also a place of profound danger and tragedy. Its astronomically high violent crime rate, its status as the nation's murder capital, and the deep-seated problems of poverty and drug use that fuel the violence, all come together to make Louisiana the second most dangerous state in the entire United States. It's a crisis that has been decades in the making, and one that continues to claim lives. And here we are. The #1 most dangerous state in the United States is New Mexico. The land of enchantment is a place of breathtaking landscapes, rich history, and vibrant culture. But when it comes to crime, it is in a league of its own. New Mexico has the unfortunate distinction of having the highest combined rate of violent and property crime in the entire nation. This means that, statistically, no other state presents a greater overall risk to its residents' safety and property. The violent crime rate in New Mexico is staggering. The state has one of the highest rates of aggravated assault in the country, meaning violent encounters are terrifyingly common. Robberies are also a major issue. This isn't a problem confined to one or two cities. It's a statewide crisis. The sheer pervasiveness of violence affects communities all across New Mexico, creating an environment of fear and instability that is unmatched anywhere else in the US. On top of the extreme violence, New Mexico also holds the top spot for property crime. Residents face the highest risk in the nation of having their homes burglarized, their cars stolen, or their belongings taken. The city of Albuquerque in particular is the epicenter of this crime wave. It has one of the highest rates of auto theft in the entire world and struggles with rampant burglary and theft. The volume of property crime is so overwhelming that it stretches law enforcement resources to their breaking point. There is no single reason for New Mexico's crisis, but a combination of factors including widespread poverty, a severe drug addiction problem, particularly with heroin and meth, and a cycle of crime that has become deeply entrenched over many years. When you are number one in property crime and number two in violent crime, the result is clear. New Mexico is, by the data, the most dangerous state in America. It's a sobering reality for a state known for its beauty, but the numbers don't lie. And there you have it, the top 10 most dangerous states in the United States, based on the latest FBI data. From Arizona's property crime to New Mexico's overwhelming crisis, it's clear that danger exists in many forms across our country. We went from Arizona at number 10 to Colorado, Oklahoma, Missouri, Alaska, Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, Louisiana, and finally, the number one most dangerous state, New Mexico. The purpose of this video was not to scare you or to badmouth these incredible states, but to arm you with knowledge. Being aware of the risks is the first step towards staying safe, whether you live in one of these states or are just planning a visit. Every state on this list has so much to offer. Beautiful landscapes, amazing people, and rich cultures. The crime statistics are just one part of a much bigger story. It's important to remember that even in the most dangerous states, the vast majority of people are good, law-abiding citizens who are working hard to make their communities better. These numbers reflect systemic problems like poverty, lack of opportunity, and drug addiction, challenges that require compassion and concerted effort to solve, not just more policing. Change is possible, but it starts with understanding the true scope of the problem. Thank you so much for watching. We hope this deep dive was informative and gave you a new perspective. If you found this video valuable, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We want to hear from you. What did you think of this list? Were you surprised by any of the states? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.